We had a petition to strip John Jones. We should have a petition to strip these matchmakers. Who asked for this fight? Who needed to see Lopes versus Silva so bad that they had to book rank number 2 with rank number 11? Gene Silva just entered the top 15 back in April. And he's fighting the guy who just fought for the belt. I'm picking Gene Silva to win, but I don't need to see this, especially after the press conference we just saw with Yair and Diego Lopes. I mean, Yair and Diego were talking mad shit. It was sold right there. If fights were movies, I just watched one of the best previews to a movie, and I want to go to MJR or AMC and watch that shit right away. This movie right here, Lopes vs. Silva, has no preview. Pull up an interaction they've had. Pull up a video of them getting heated in each other's face, talking smack, having a rivalry, having a past. I haven't seen it. You know whose team does have some drama between them? That's Diego and Yair. And this is called UFC Noche. Wouldn't Yair Rodriguez be the perfect person to headline something called UFC Noche? Now I know Diego Lopes trains in Mexico. His last name is Lopez. I bet he has some Mexican heritage. But he would look even more Mexican if you put him against Yair Rodriguez. When you put him against Gene Silva, I just see 2 Brazilian flags. But if I'm looking at UFC Noche and I see the names Lopes versus Rodriguez, I'm sold. And then I see the press conference, and then I know I'm going to get another press conference before the fight. Yo, get the tequila, get the tacos, get the enchiladas. Let's have a fiesta. This just proves that it's not about exciting fighter A versus exciting fighter B. I think Gene Silva would kill Yair Rodriguez, but that don't matter to me. The better fight is Diego Lopes versus Yair Rodriguez. It's about the matchup. No backstory behind Silva and Lopes. 2 exciting fighters, but I'm not excited like I should be because we had a way better match brewing. And the whole featherweight division is a mess. It's not just this fight. It started way back with this fight right here. Here we go. This is where it started. When we seen Movsar Evloev was going to fight Bellator fighter Aaron Pico, we knew it was over. We knew we had no hope to get Movsar versus Volk. Volk asked for it. There's so many reasons it should have been Movsar versus Volk. We could have restored order back in the UFC. We could have made a point. Hey, we're bringing it back. The best fights the best. They got Movsar ranked at number 2. This guy's number 1. He beat Diego Lopes. He should be ranked number 1. Diego Lopes just had his title shot and lost. Movsar is undefeated right now. Diego's not. This is the true number 1 contender. And Volk asked for it. The champ wanted to fight the true number 1 contender, and the matchmakers won't give it to him. This just proves that the fucking red flag in the UFC are the matchmakers. I know this is a random thought, but Umar Nurmagomedov just said the matchmakers flew to Dagestan and begged Islam to move up and fight JDM. Because they didn't want Topuria versus Makhachev. They probably want Topuria to be champion of that division, and he has better odds of beating Charles Oliveira than Islam Makhachev. Does that make sense? I'm more mad at the matchmakers than the fighters turning fights down. The matchmakers in the UFC brass could have already made a point. Hey, you want to turn down big fights? You want to turn down what the fans want to see? The fans pay the bills. Alright, if you want to not listen to the fans, then we're going to put you on shit cards. We'll give you whack-ass treatment if you don't want to accept the big fights that the fans want to see. I think the fans should start having more influence than the matchmakers these days. The fans put money in the UFC's pockets. We bring engagement, we bring attention, we promote the fights more than the UFC's these days. Us UFC YouTubers promote the fights way better than the UFC itself. Anyway, Evloev vs. Pico, what the hell? Here's a huge problem now. UFC doesn't want anyone to have leverage. The matchmakers, their only job? This is where I hate the matchmakers. People think their job is to make exciting fights. No. Their job is to help the UFC have no clear-cut contender. They've been doing it forever. They don't want their fighters to have any leverage. They want to be able to lowball fighter A, and if he doesn't take the fight, then they can lowball fighter B. They can use it for negotiation tactics. They can use it as leverage. It's messed up. That's what the UFC does now. If Lopes wins, title shot. He just fought for the belt. If Silva wins, he's super exciting. If he wins, odds are he beats Diego Lopes in a more exciting fashion than Volk did. Title shot. If Movsar Evloev, the guy who deserves the title fight now, if he puts in extra credit, if he works overtime, he for sure deserves a title shot. But if Aaron Pico, this highly rated Bellator prospect, who TJ Dillashaw's been talking about for years now, if he walks in the UFC on his debut and smokes the true number one contender who's undefeated, title shot. So whoever wins between Lopes and Silva now has competition with the winner of Evloev and Pico. They can just give the title shot to whoever they like more that day. Whoever's bending the knee. That's bullshit. I think the fans need to start having some more influence. And the only way is if we boycott this fucking fight right here. This is the only way they're going to listen to us. And it's going to be tough because everyone's going to watch it. We can complain about a card all we want. But there's going to be one or two fights where we're like, I got to see that. I'm willing to sit out one fight card. If the big MMA content creators won't cover it, I won't cover it. I'm talking if MMA Guru says, you know what? I'm going to rebel against this card. I'm not going to follow this card. I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to cover it. Because the UFC is going to continue to treat us like shit and not listen to the fans and give us garbage like this unless we boycott the event. We already saw this. Look, right here. UFC 290. We don't want to see this shit. But why would the UFC stop giving us garbage? Why would the UFC stop giving us half-assed effort if we continue to support it? The UFC and the matchmakers haven't suffered the consequences yet. No one's boycotted a card. So they think they can just do whatever they want and get away with it. Just like Jon Jones. Maybe that's why the UFC loves Jon Jones so much. He can do whatever he wants and gets away with it. And that's what the matchmakers are doing. They're purposely giving us whack stuff. They purposely don't want us to know who the number one contender is, so the UFC gets leverage. Fighter A doesn't accept, we'll give it to Fighter B because there's an argument for it. Because we got two number one contender fights right here. We got two number one contender fights. Silva versus Lopes and Evloev versus Pico. And there's no telling who's more deserving between the winners of these two fights. Their job is to make sure the UFC does not have a clear number one contender. It's true. 2025 is the perfect example of that shit. Why do you think Khabib Tony was so hyped? We knew who the guy was. We knew who the true challenger was. 2025, the past few years, they've been wiping out a true challenger. We can never come up with a true number one contender unless it's an empty ghost division. Unless it's an empty ghost town like heavyweight, then Tom Aspinall stands out like a sore thumb. But if we look at all the divisions, who are the true number one contenders? And I'm talking about divisions that aren't ghost town. I'm not including flyweight, not including heavyweight, not including the female divisions. But let's look at bantamweight. Petr Yan, Umar Nurmagomedov, and Corey Sandhagen. They all equally deserve a title shot. Yeah, Corey Sandhagen should get it next because he's the only challenge Merab hasn't beat. But guess what? Umar just beat Sandhagen. He could say that. You know what Petr Yan could say? Hey, Sandhagen, you're on a 1-fight win streak. I'm on a 2-fight win streak. I deserve the title shot. You see how almost all these divisions have like 3 different guys that could argue title shot? What about featherweight? Look what they're doing. We just talked about that. Lightweight. Armin. Charles. Gaethje. These guys are all clamoring and demanding title shots. The welterweight division's an even better example. Sean Brady probably wants a title shot. Shavkat probably wants a title shot. Usman wants a title shot. Who else? Islam's gonna get a title shot. That's like 5 fighters who say they deserve a title shot at 170. There should only be one clear guy. And then a close second. So you guys get my point. No more number one contenders, and that's becoming a problem. That's why we're getting fights like Lopes Silva. That's why we're getting Evloev versus Pico. And that's why we're getting Volkanovski versus Rodriguez number 2. Let me just say this. This is what I would have done. It's so easy. It's so simple. Starting with the title fight. You book Volk versus Movsar. Restore order. Make the best fight the best. Fight number 2. You do Yair versus Diego. Storyline. Beef. It's refreshing. Everyone's friends nowadays. The sport's turning into an NPC fest. Boring reporters. Boring answers. No animosity. We need that Don Fry attitude back. Fight to go for the kill. Don't win by points. Don't be friends with your opponent. Be a man and fight and entertained. We don't want to see all this high-fiving and hugging and handshaking. I'm losing my train of thought. I'm getting so heated here. Yes, Yair versus Diego. It's sold. It's sold. The lazy promoters wouldn't have to move a muscle. Get a camera on them, sit them down at a round table, and let's have some fucking fun. Now this is the third biggest fight that needs to happen in the featherweight division. You take the boring fighter, Lerone Murphy, and you put him against the violent fighter, Gene Silva. These guys both got skills. They can both become champion. But Lerone Murphy's boring as hell. He's gonna have 0 fans unless you put him in a firefight. And if Gene Silva is really championship material, you can prove that by beating a guy in a 6-fight win streak. The matchmakers are ruining the sport. Let me know what you think down below. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.